That's nice. That's a good cup of coffee. How is everyone? How are you doing? It's been a while. Feels like months since I've been in front of the camera. It's kind of weird being here, but it's good to be back. I have been really busy with work. Traveling, emails, editing. So, haven't had a lot of time to put into this channel. So last week, my wife and I went on a road trip and we helped document a wedding. And on that road trip, we dove into the second book of Dungeon Crawler Carl, Carl's Doomsday Scenario. And my wife had read it previously, physically read it, and I had only read the first book physically. And everyone is like, oh my gosh, you got to try the audiobooks. So good. You got to listen to the audiobooks. They're amazing. So I thought on the road trip, it was a perfect time to give the audiobook a shot. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. Wanted to dive into the subject of audiobooks just a little more. I will not be reviewing this book because I think it'd be appropriate to review it with my wife. Maybe in the next video. Yes, I agree. This audiobook is amazing. This is one of the best performances I've ever witnessed. In an audiobook, in a podcast, in audio form, it's truly one of a kind. The voices, the variety, the little elements of sound effects and voice modulation. It's phenomenal. It really doesn't feel like your typical audiobook where you're just being read to and the narrator is just reading the words in the most monotone voice. No, this is a performance. It's almost like a Broadway play. It really does capture the essence and tone of Dungeon Crawler Carl. However, Donut is not British. No. Nope. When I heard that, I was like, what? No. And Carl sounds like Kronk from Emperor's New Groove. And Donut sounds like Invader Zim. Not my cup of tea. But it didn't ruin it for me. My wife and I had a blast. We're experiencing the story and trusting the narrator's interpretation of this story and the voices. And again, that's what I wanted to talk about in this video. My experience with audiobooks and my issues with audiobooks. When I'm reading a physical book and I read dialogue and characters are talking, the voice in my head for that character will be completely different from what a narrator would have in mind for an audiobook. So Carl, in my eyes, in my experience of reading the book physically, just sounds like a guy. Just your normal guy. Maybe not Chris Pratt, maybe not Ryan Gosling, but your average jock? Maybe not your bro? I don't know. But he doesn't sound that deep to me. Doesn't sound like Kronk. My wife and I envision Donut sounding a bit more like, oh my gosh, who's that actress from Bridesmaids? Kristen Wiig. So that is one of my issues with an audiobook. I think it can taint or maybe ruin expectations or an experience when you've read the book physically, or maybe you've read a quarter or half a book physically, and then you go into the audio section and the voices are just like, whoa, wait, that's not how I pictured it. And that could taint your experience. But it's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just my personal issue. Everyone is going to have their own experience with audiobooks and physical books, and some of you may prefer audio over physical, and some of you may prefer physical reading over audio listening. And everyone's going to have their own experience and expectations. I've only listened to a handful of audiobooks, and that's mainly because I want to experience something so different from what I would get physically reading, or even different from your regular audiobook narrator. I want it to feel like a stage play, a performance, a true acting performance. And I got that from Will Patton, who narrated The Outsider and the Bill Hodges trilogy by Stephen King. Rosamund Pike, who narrated the first couple books of Wheel of Time. Those performances were amazing. But I'm not going to leap out to go out of my way to grab the audiobook over the physical edition. Another issue I have with audiobooks is they can get exhausting. Just hearing, listening constantly and constantly. It's just, especially when it's an over-the-top, high-energy performance, I'm just like, whoa, wait a minute. Okay, we've been listening to this for 2 hours. Can I just hear myself think for a little bit? I don't even exactly know what's going on. I'm not really following. It's easy for your mind to wander when you're listening to an audiobook. You might daydream, look off in the distant hills as you're driving along the long freeway. Or you might decide to do chores or go play video games while you listen to your book. It's a different muscle to listen. But I mean listen on your own. When I'm having a conversation with someone, face to face, they're sitting next to me or across from me at a table, it's easy for me to listen and be engaged and pay attention to that person. There's a back and forth conversation happening. Whereas with an audiobook, it's just constant words and noise, and it can get exhausting after 2-3 hours of just listening. When I physically read a book, I feel like I'm truly engaged and concentrating and really being intentional with what's in my hand. I'm sounding words out with my mind. I'm creating little voices in my head for these characters. And I feel like when I read physically, I'm retaining that information. And I take a break and I ponder and sit back and really think back on what I just read. Whereas with an audiobook, it's constantly moving. And I might miss a detail here and there. And then it gets brought up later and I'm like, wait, what's going on? Again, it's different for everyone, but I just prefer physical reading. There's just something special about holding something physical in my hands. Something tangible. Flipping the pages and following the lines of text with my eyes. Plus, it's quiet. It's relaxing. It's not just this constant noise. When I'm reading physically, I can be reading in the morning with my cup of coffee. It's quiet like this. I could be lying in bed with my wife and we can both be reading our books and it's quiet like this. It's relaxing. Whereas with an audiobook, it can be overwhelming and oversensitizing. I enjoy the quiet and the calm of the day. I don't have to be having a YouTube video on or a podcast on 24/7, an audiobook on everywhere I go. I can just be present and in that moment. So when I look at my book and reach out for it and put it in my hands and open it up, it signifies quiet time, relaxation. And also, the cool thing about physical books is you can't take this from me. This is mine. I bought it. This is in my hands. Whereas something digital, like on Kindle or audio, they can just decide to take it off, take it away. They can edit it, change things. It's reassuring knowing that this is my bookcase and these are my books. I own them, you know? Everyone has their own tastes and preferences, and everyone likes to take in a story differently, and that's okay. And I love that. I just prefer physical books. I am thankful I got to experience this book in audio form with my wife. We got to laugh and hang out on the road. It made that long, long drive quite short and enjoyable. I know I haven't been communicating as much or really been active on YouTube. I'm sorry about that. I posted a video on Robin Hobb, and I haven't been active in the comments like I would want to. I want to do better. I want to do more than just click the heart button and love your comment. I want to actually talk to you and have some back and forth, have a conversation. And I'm sorry about that. It's been busy. It's been a lot. Oh yeah, I was a guest on a podcast for the first time. Trailmark Podcast with Ray. He emailed me and wanted me to hop on. So that was a lot of fun. I'll link that in the description for you guys to watch. I will be doing a live stream this week with Joanna Reads. I think that's going to be happening Saturday. And my friend David from Four Corners of the Page, we've been doing a little buddy read with this guy right here, Empire of Silence. We're going to be doing a live stream, kind of a light spoiler-free discussion on this book and our thoughts. I don't know when that will be, but the live stream with Joanna will be this Saturday. So look forward to that. I hope this video was enjoyable. I don't want it to come off as pretentious and me looking down on audiobooks. It's just, we all have our own different tastes, and I prefer physical books, and I hope we can just have a conversation, a back and forth, and not argue about, hey, audiobooks are better, physical reading is, blah, blah, blah. It can be a sensitive subject to some people. And this place, this channel, it's all about conversations. And let's talk. Let's talk about audiobooks. What do you like about audiobooks? What do you not like about audiobooks? And do you prefer physical books? Or do you prefer audiobooks? Or do you do a little bit of both? Let's have a conversation. It was so good to be back in front of the camera and hanging out with you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me and hearing my thoughts. Until next time.